So annoyed right now. As you can see, there was no loading. I don't really know what's going on right now with my laptop, but um, we are back. We are here. We are live. I'm just gonna. I can't figure out my chat. I'm like really like flustered today. I'm sorry, you guys, but I can see what you guys are saying, so we can still do the show. But dude, that is some frustration. All right, hold on one sec. Docs. All right, we'll put this one in so at least I can see a little better. All right. I know I'm so dramatic. It's just frustrating. I really wanted to have everything right. But anyway, let's do this thing today. How was everybody today? I'm pretty excited that I'm definitely pretty excited that we got to this situation in the series. Because now it's a best of 3. You know, nothing better than that. Best of 3. Toronto's going to have 2 games at home. Tonight's game is massive. You Savage and Snell. Second time that they're going to do this thing. Second time they're matching up. It's a repeat of Game 1. Last night, I thought Toronto came out and did exactly what they needed to do, obviously. So we'll get into that a little bit, and we'll figure out exactly, you know, how we're feeling with 3 games left. All right. So obviously everybody knows Toronto 6-2 winners last night. They ended up getting 4 runs in the 7th to kind of put the game to bed. Early on, they really didn't look great, I didn't think, offensively versus Ohtani, but they were able to clip him, Vlad, for the 2-run homer in the 3rd inning, and then the 7th inning is where it kind of all fell apart. The combination of Shohei and Banda, they got to him and they kind of put the game to bed, which was big. They needed to play out in front, which they kind of were able to do. Bieber stepped up huge, only allowing 1 run. Fluharty got some big outs. We'll watch those. And then, you know, Bassett soaks up 2 innings. And then for some reason, Varland pitched again. Can't really understand why Varland pitched again. I know that he's one of your better guys, but you had a 5-run lead in the 9th. And he is completely and ridiculously overexposed at this point. All right, what do we got here in the chat? I hope Savage has his good splitter today. That's a big factor. Should we be boosting the idea of a good ball hitter as the inverse of a bad ball hitter? Ray, guys like Vladdy, guys that are less suppressed by elite pitching. Hard to quantify, like, just people who are generally better versus elite pitching versus guys who aren't. I think there'll be people that match up with certain aspects of elite pitchers very well, and others that match up with others, and then there are going to be some that are more versatile than that. So to answer that question, it's annoying I can't put the questions up right now. I'm like really flustered by this today. Let me try one more time. It seems like I should be able to get this right. No, definitely not. So bad. Maybe next time I fix this screen. All right, what do we got here? I wonder if Bassett starts taking over Varland's workhorse fireman role now. Even him, like, I mean, it was good that Bass pitched because he's great and he's a big part of what they got going on. And while he was in the game, it felt a little closer, I guess. It wasn't really much closer, but he had to bridge to get to, you know, putting the game to bed. And I feel like he's definitely a factor, but he threw 2 innings yesterday. So what can he do today? He's never pitched 3 in a row. He had never pitched 2 in a row. Now he's going to be maybe asked to pitch 3 in a row today if Bassett goes back out there. But now we're back to square one. I mean, look, both teams, it's starting to become clear where the edges are in this series. The Blue Jay bullpen is an edge over the Dodger bullpen. I think that's pretty clear at this point. I know the Dodgers hung in there and won that game too on the strength of their bullpen, but I think that was pretty much everything that they had, and they got some surprise performances that they weren't maybe expecting with Enriquez and Will Klein. So it's kind of how I feel about it. All right, let's dive in here a little bit to yesterday's game. Let's get it started. Oh, thanks, David. I don't know. I just wanted to do it because it makes it a more fun show. All right, but let's get started. I think the first place to look is, let's check out both of these starting pitchers, right? I mean, they had to. That was the matchup that we talked about yesterday. Both teams were going to have to get big innings out of their starters. There was no real way around that yesterday. And so Shohei and Shane Bieber. First, let's look at Shohei. I did find it interesting when I looked at his breakdown here right away, just to get a sense, because I did get the sense watching him yesterday that he didn't really have it. Like, he wasn't as diverse, and his velo felt a little light. But now I can see in the data that's pretty clear. First thing you want to look at is the velo. I mean, it's down across the board. So maybe being on base 9 times in one day was a little exhausting. I think that's fair. Playing a 6.5-hour game, maybe that was a little tiring, and starting the next day was maybe a big ask. Didn't know how that would play out. I certainly never wanted to put anything behind Shohei, but it did play out this way. He wasn't quite superhuman yesterday. Look at the velocity. So down almost 1 mile an hour year average on his velo on the fastball, and down a lot more on some of these secondary pitches. Here's the usage: 47% four-seamer, 22% sweeper, 18% curveball. So a heavy breaking ball focus there, bigger shapes, and fastball. So looking to play probably a speed differential game. Not as much of the other pitches, only 4% cutter, 4% slider, 3% splitter, and 1% sinker. Now, in the previous game, once he got to the second level of the game, he started destroying people with splitters when he was facing, I guess it was the Brewers. Yeah, it was the Brewers. The game that he had, the superhuman game. So he never really got to the second layer of his game, which tells me that he really wasn't, rolling out his game plan the way he wanted to. Let's take a look at some other things. First pitch strikes, relatively good. 64%, that's fine. And then the velocity he actually peaked it a little bit in the third inning of yesterday's game. He popped back up here, 98.4 in the third, and then he started to decline a little bit. And then the big question is going to be when we get to the 7th inning, was this too much? You can see that the results say yes, but in the moment, could we know that or not? I don't know. It looks like the movement was pretty normal and everything. He didn't really get. It was just a weird game. Like I said, he was good. He just wasn't quite unhittable, which is kind of where he was before. He was kind of landed before, but it does seem like he likes to get to that splitter when he's rolling, and it's evidence to me that he didn't really feel like he was rolling if he never got to the split. We got some stuff in the chat here. The announcers kept harping on how tired Shohei must be. I mean, I think he was tired, and I didn't expect him to be tangibly tired, but he was. I mean, you can see here in the data, he's clearly not quite what he was in that previous game from a physical standpoint. Also, he did have a cramp a little bit in that one, but I get it. Everybody. Honestly, one thing that I think is funny is we always have to remember that this is baseball. It was a lot of people thought it was a foregone conclusion. The Blue Jays would roll over. Shohei would throw a complete game shutout, which I would never put past him. But that's not the way this rolled. The Jays had something to say about it. They punched back. They played a really, really clean game, and they won the game. All right, so here's Shohei, right? So we got an idea a little bit of what we're looking at in terms of the usage. Slightly less velocity, but it looks like he's going to be mostly four-seam in his slower versions of breaking balls. All right, so let's check. We'll just watch everything here with Shohei early on. All right, first batter of the game, Lucas. It's a four-seam. Oh, yeah. When this play happened, I was like, man, the Dodgers are just, you know, having a good time. I mean, look at my guy right here. Whoop. First play of the game, we're going to go a little dipsy-do over the rail. And of course, Kike, it's Kike, of course, catches it. And then, anyway, that was a funny way to start off the game for sure. That's the first out. And then he does punch out Vlad. So let's watch the whole at-bat versus Vlad the first time. Because obviously Vlad gets him later. Pitching him tough. Fouls off first pitch fastball. You can see how Shohei's fastball sometimes super cuts. Now, it doesn't have cut shape here, but I mean, just look at the shape of the pitch out of the hand. Like kind of right to left. Interesting that Vlad wanted to be aggressive there. He's been very passive, first pitch quite often, but not yesterday, obviously. Ooh, that's a good sweeper there on the corner. So away, and then another sweeper away. Can hit just about everything else. Ooh, really good pitch. You know, sweeper, it's funny. It's such an aesthetically pleasing pitch. I talked about it a lot last night with some guys at dinner. But the reality is, it has such big break that unless you throw it pretty hard, you're not going to get a ton of chase on it. There's usually a lot of time for the hitter to go yes, 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 no at the last second. But Shohei's sweeper, you know, especially this one, it's 87 miles an hour. So it's a little bit of a different dynamic. As long as he sells to you that this ball's in the strike zone for a little bit of a tick, you're going to probably want to swing, and that's what happens there with Vlad. And then by the time you go to swing, you know, it's just outside your bat. It's too big to reach for it. So good pitch there. He punches him out. Four-seam sweeper the first at bat. Then a walk to Bichette. Let's see what he tried to go to 3-2 here. The payoff. Bichette takes ball forward. Yeah, I mean, but look at that kind of pulled down in miss by Shohei. That miss right there, which I would call the yank in the ground, the pull ball in the ground, that miss right there is often an indication that you're trying to create too much with your arm, like with your body too early in your delivery. And so you're sending your energy a little bit off target and pulling the ball. So, I mean, you can see the command, you know, a little inconsistent maybe. That's okay. All right, and then he's going to give up a hit here to Barger on a fastball. So, you know, gets the first two guys out of the game, but then runs into some pitch count issue here in the first inning, has to work a little harder than he'd like to. Barger just surviving in there, but has, you know, very fortunate contact. Two guys get on, and then Kirk is going to pop out. We'll watch both pitches of this to end the first inning. Let's see here. Like, even that, like, they're set up in here. Will Smith's in, but his miss right now is he's pulling balls to his glove side, right? Pull to the middle. I mean, this is a bad pitch to Kirk. If he's on time, that's a pitch he wants. All right, sweeper. Ooh, that exact pitch is going to show up in that at-bat to Vlad later. Now, I've always said, like, sweeper at the top of the zone, usually a pretty good pitch as long as you get enough horizontal on it and doesn't kind of back up on you. But Shohei gets good lift on this, 6.6 inches of vert on this. So this ball kind of stays up enough, and that's why Kirk's under it. Anyway, it works out here, but you can see that's not exactly what he wants to do with that pitch. So that's 3 outs in the first. Hold on one second. I got to switch my lighting situation up. This light is blasting right in my eyeballs. So hold on one second. All right. It was just too much. The sun's coming up here now, so I don't need all of that. Don't need all of that. All right. back to it. Back to it. Where's my magical tablet of death? Both teams were equally tired, but the Dodgers used their most exposed player besides Smith as their starter. I mean, listen, they had to. They had to pitch him. That's their whole plan. That game game 3 in LA. First of all, imagine if the Blue Jays won that game. This series would be over right now. Toronto would be sitting really pretty, but that game crushed everybody involved, but the Dodgers a little bit too because Shohei had to participate in it, whereas Shane Bieber didn't. I mean, a little bit. He got up and walked around a little bit. All right, second inning, first pitch out to Varsho. Let's see if they continue to pitch Varsho up. Seems like it. Yep, there it is. Fastball up, pops under it. That's a good pitch. Well located out there. All right, Ernie Clement. And get him with the sweeper. So yeah, all I'm seeing is 4-seamers and breaking balls. Obviously, that's what the data says, but it's working early. I don't see really any danger zones yet, except for the fact that he really is not locating that good. But here's a really fast out on a first pitch curveball. Man, 70.7.
High school is already a household name in Japan. First one to Jimenez. Is tapped back to him. And after 5 seasons,
Maya's saying that she doesn't understand how Shohei was tired. But he did hit 2 home runs and I think had 2 other hits and had the 5 walks. And I know the walks probably aren't that exhausting, but a lot of it's the mental energy. Like, he had to lock in that whole game on his at-bats. He's not expecting to get walked every time. I mean, maybe eventually he was. But I always say this, like, a big part of recovery and a big part of actually getting rest is the mental rest. Like, the ability to check out and not have to be engaged in everything all the time. Shohei wasn't afforded that. He had to stay engaged for 6.5 hours the other night. Bieber did get up a little bit and kind of get his mind going on it at the end of the game, which isn't ideal either for rest. But the whole beginning of the game, he was chilling. He was laid back. He was, drinking a hydration, drink and a coffee and having some snacks and enjoying a World Series baseball game. So anyway, pitching takes up so much energy. So like after you've been out there a lot, I think it's a big deal. But anyway. All right. Anyway, I mean, I just think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding here. Like, I think you're more just annoyed at how much talk they're talking about it. Like, you want them to cover somebody else. I get that. But fundamentally, it's a situation that other people haven't dealt with. Like, you have to be the mental engagement of playing at the high level in the big game can't be understated how draining that is. Anyway, all right. Third inning. IKF leading it off.
Ohtani's 1-2 to counter for Leffa. A fastball punched to second.
This was the inning that his velo went up, actually. 99 right here. Kind of beats him inside. I see a comment here by Honorata. Did you see they were getting like 30,000 people watching the game at the Skydome Jumbotron? Crazy levels of support. I mean, to be honest, that's what it's felt like the whole time. Like the Jays fans have been waiting, man. They've been waiting for this. All right, so here's a hit. Fastball, cutter, fastball. All right, let's see. Second time through the order here. So the first time through the order, he was pretty dang good. Man, what a bizarre hit. Up above the zone, in. Lucas has had a number of these hits this postseason. He is like so committed to getting on top of a pitch. Man, look how tight he keeps everything here. Drives through this ball.
Lucas rips a base hit into right field. Over to cut it off Hernandez. He holds
anyway, that's a nice swing right there. And that sets up the Vlad at bat. All right, so this flipped the game a little bit. I mentioned not really much had happened, but now it's second time through. Don't forget, first at bat versus Vlad went fastball away, sweeper, with a big swing and miss on the 0-2. All right, starts him with the up-down slider. So this is the first time we've seen this pitch. This is actually disgustingly filthy. But it's designed for chase. This pitch is designed to get you to swing and miss at it, and Vlad does a nice job of not swinging at it. I think he maybe doesn't swing at it because he reads spin, and all the other spin he's seen in this game so far is a sweeper that goes way left. So this ball starts where, like, let's see where it starts. Starts like a little bit on the outer third, just a touch, basically middle. He's expecting this ball to head way left. So actually, if this ball holds and catches the bottom of the zone, it's probably a taken strike and he doesn't swing. But look at the thing plummet. It's actually too nasty for an 0-0 pitch if you want to land it in the zone. I mean, Shohei is such gross stuff. But anyway, he tries the gyro the first time. Interesting choice, but now he's behind 1-0. Now he goes to the curveball. So another type of breaking ball to Vlad that he hasn't seen yet. This is the big slow bender. He just doesn't land it. Also, I think an interesting and important pitch later. Vlad sees a pitch pop kind of up and in. And typically, if you're looking for a breaking ball to hammer, this is a little too high, but you're looking for something to start up in this area and then nestle down into the plate. So it's important for him to get a feel for that dynamic. Even though this pitch is a curveball and it kind of almost pops him, I think, I don't know, it's just like it gets a little bit in his eye lane, you know. His eye lane, but like a little bit in his vision, what he's looking for, like he gets a little more of a sense of the way the ball needs to pop out of the hand to fire. All right, 2-0, here comes a fastball. Challenge heater. Setting up inside, missing middle down. Really good pitch for Vlad to hit, but also, I actually don't mind this pitch to Vlad location-wise after watching him hit so much lately. His crazy power is really like over here with the fastball. He tends to pound a lot of these low pitches in the ground. So I don't mind this pitch by Shohei, even though to most guys in the league, this is like an insanely dangerous pitch. What's interesting is he's actually under it. He slices under this ball. So if they were really thinking here, I think the next best pitch is something up and in hard. But instead, he goes soft, and he pays the consequences here. So there's the foul ball, and then here comes the home run pitch. Sweeper. And mind you, this is the same pitch, if you recall, that he finished one of the innings on earlier. It's that high, sort of doesn't get there sweeper. And really a lot of factors came together for this being such a bad pitch to Vlad. Number one, he was already late on the fastball and under the fastball. So you're kind of doing him a favor slowing him back down. Number two, he already saw a ball pop up and in. So he was not giving up on anything that was coming up and in. He knew that there was a world in which Shohei wanted to start something in and run it back to the plate. So he had a kind of a visual for the path that ball needed to be on for him to fire. And then he's just really good at naturally rotating. Like I actually feel like I can see his eyes get big in a way during this pitch. And he's like, oh, there it is. I better hit it. And he just smacks the crap out of it. 102.7 at 25, perfect launch angle. And at this moment, everybody in the suite was like, wow, Shohei can give up runs. Like, that's the thing. It's so unexpected. But let's look at this in slow-mo, because watch Vlad. I think this is interesting. It's almost like he gets loaded and he's like, oh, there it is. And he just turns the shoulders really just naturally. It was all just a really, really clean reaction. Man, he's been so freaking amazing this postseason. He's so balanced. I mean, in a bubble, it's kind of a pitch people don't swing at. But he knew that, I just feel like he saw enough to get a good read out of the hand there. And then slammed it. So that was 2 runs. We've got some questions about that at bat here. Was his reaction on pitch number 2 a setup? No, I don't think so. I think he legitimately was ready to swing here. If you look at pitch 2 here, it's the curveball that kind of pops up and in. I mean, you're facing Shohei. You have to be aware that pitches that started 2 are probably off-speed pitches. So If you look at his initial move out of the hand, the ball pops. Vlad's still engaged, like he wants to hit. It's not till about here that he gets out of there. He stays locked in the whole way. But to me, that just tells me, like, he, in a way, he is kind of looking for something that's starting in to break over the plate. And I mentioned how he's been much more on time for breaking balls for the majority of this postseason. Occasionally he's picked his spots for fastballs, but I wouldn't call it a setup. I would just say he just got some clues. Like, Shohei accidentally walked into that one a little bit. Didn't really mean to. All right, we'll keep going. Here's Bichette. So that was really it until the 7th. Like, he finds a way to get outs. And this is actually a scary thing for the league. Like, if Shohei really wants to go ahead and try to hunt down a Cy Young or something one year, which is a whole nother discussion. Like, do you even let him, or do you continue to do, or not let him, but is the conversation more built around a really slow buildup with him every year so you have him ready for the postseason? I've mentioned before, I think Shohei has to be the one driving that conversation either way. Maybe there's a time where he wants to go ahead and chase something like that for his own, competitive reasons. But if not, I do think the long, slow buildup makes sense, because then by the time you get to crunch time, you have a guy who can potentially, throw 120 pitches a game if need be. So I don't know. It's a tricky guy to manage. Nobody's ever had this guy before. But I try to think to myself sometimes, what's going to continue to motivate Shohei Ohtani? He's already set a whole bunch of records. He doesn't have a Cy Young, so maybe he'll be into that. All right, he gave up that home run. He started throwing some anger balls right after that, and you'll see even when he faces Vlad the next time. And I remember I was talking to Shane Victorino last night in the suite, and he's like, this boy's about to throw some gas the next time he faces Vlad, and he did. So it's just interesting to see how people will turn it back up, like, kind of out of necessity. All right, 4th inning, he gets a whole bunch of strikeouts. Here's Kirk. Curveball.
A game that you got to watch for that fatigue and the adrenaline running off.
And I think Kirk, having watched him so much more lately, I think he's more of a fast, you have to play the fast slow game, the front back game. You can see when he's way out front, he has such a linear move in his swing that once he gets moving forward, it's hard for him to stop. All right, here's another curveball. Top shelf curveball to Varsho. So 2 strikeouts on curveballs there, and then he also strikes out Ernie on a fastball. And again, though, you see the way that ball's moving, and this is a weird fastball. This is a little bit of a red flag right here. The vertical breaks down to 9 inches. Also, the horizontal breaks down to 1 inch. So this is sort of like a cutter. Like, Shohei's not getting through the ball on his fastball. He's definitely coming around that ball a little bit. You can actually almost see it here in the hand. He's coming around that ball a little bit. He's not getting his energy through it as much. It's amazing he's still throwing 96 doing this, but the shape is peculiar. Peculiar can be good. I've often said be good, but for him, I think he's got a little more ride than that. He's got a little more carry than that. All right, 5th inning, another strikeout. Jimenez. This time it's that downer slider. Got questions about Shohei potentially in the bullpen role. I've always liked this idea, but it would have to be something that the player would be super bought in on. Like, he would have to want to do it, because it's not as easy as just go play the game and we'll let you know if you're going to need to pitch or not. It's not that easy. And in a lot of ways, the reliever workload at times can be tougher to manage than a starter workload, just because there's so much chaos with it and irregularity with it. It's IKF out front. Honestly, his contact was like really nice the whole game, except for that home run. And we'll see what pops up later. But he pretty much dominated everybody except for the top of the order. Here's Luke's 3rd time through. He's going to get his 2nd hit, Lucas. Yeah, they lose their DH, but in theory, if he's closing QTRF, the question is if Shohei comes in to close, do they lose their DH? Yes. But I've never understood this issue. Like, so what? It's the 9th inning. He's ending the game. If the game ends up going to extras, whatever. Throw him in left field or something. Like, you can figure it out. He can do it. Seabass having no issues coming out of the pen right now after being a starter is one of the comments here. I'm not saying Shohei would have a hard time doing it, but it's a little different doing it a little bit in the postseason like Bass is and having it be a part of your job while you're also hitting every day. It's just a different dynamic. Like the days he's starting, he has his routine, and it's one day where his life is a little interrupted. But out of the bullpen, you just don't know what's going to happen, is my point. You can't do any planning. And I think sometimes his skill set requires some planning. In the regular season, it doesn't make sense to introduce too much chaos to it. But I could see an argument for him being a closer because he can affect more games, probably throw less innings, focus more on hitting, not have that one day where he just destroys his body starting. I don't know. It's all uncharted territory. All right, so there's a hit by Lucas going the other way, good swing, and then I want to watch this at bat versus Vlad, just out of curiosity because obviously there was the home run last time, and you can see here come the anger balls. 99 first pitch here. You can even see the finish here by Shohei. He put a little extra on this. Look at that finish, that little curl finish with the leg. I like that.
Not great. I mean, it's great, but it won't last.
It's just like, I remember talking to John Smoltz about starting versus relieving. And he just said, like, he was surprised at how taxing the relieving life was, especially like a closer life, throwing 3 in a row or maybe throwing 5 games in a week. All high leverage, Wow, this is such a good curveball. He really came back with some good shit for Vladdy in his third at bat. That heater was up there. And then look at this banger. Such a good pitch to Vlad. I'd like to see more righties go right on right curveball after giving him velo up. I think it's a good combo to him. I think he's pretty good at riding sliders out, but curveballs, not as much. And then he goes in hard. This time he actually hits the in spot, but again, he doesn't get any run, doesn't really get any action coming in. But still, anger ball, 99 miles an hour. Yeah, that's the thing. It's only 2.7 inches of horizontal, so that's why this ball almost gets hit. Vlad is actually incredible at throwing the hands really late here and getting to this pitch. But if this ball rides in a little bit more, it's going to shatter his bat. Like if this pitch is here because of movement, Vlad's in deep doo-doo after all these other pitches he's seen. But Shohei didn't have that type of run on his heater today. It was a little cutty, but he finally does hit the spot, hits the spot, gets the jam. So good pitch there. And a good comeback by Shohei in this third matchup between the two studs. All right, 6th inning. I really want to watch a lot of the 6th inning to get a sense of whether I feel like he was really tiring or not. All right, the first batter, he gets him out with a sweeper. Bo Bichette. Popped up off the end. Good pitch there. No sign there. 6th, Addison Barger. Curveball. I actually feel like he's been in a great rhythm since the home run. So I'm not detecting really anything right now. Man, he ran awfully hard. I think he had plenty of energy. I think all of it was like underlying. It's like one of those things where you don't really know you're tired until you do like a grip test or something. And you're like, oh, I'm like 20% weaker than yesterday. And that's a perfect pitch. I would have sent him back out too after this 6th inning. This 6th inning was really clean. He was really sharp. As long as he said he wanted it, I would have sent him back out. I didn't see any red flags in this inning. The velo's down, but not a lot. And obviously he showed he had some anger balls. All right, so 7th inning comes, and this is where the game gets kind of put away. Varsho. I think this is where the game's lost, though. I don't think he lost it with the Vladdy thing. All right, so I'm going to give credit to Varsho here. Look, the whole series, the whole year, when you talk about Varsho, you talk about how he can't really hit the upper part of the zone. Shohei gets it there, but pulls it in a little bit. And Varsho gets jammed, but he just gets it over the infield. And it's a first pitch ambush, and it works out, and they get on base. This is where the aggression of the Jays pays off. Knowing Shohei wants to get ahead in the count, Varsho's aggressive. He finds grass. First guy on. More credit to Varsho there than anything bad against Shohei. And then Clement, 2 pitches. Let's see here. First pitch curveball.
Out against the Tigers in the afternoon in Detroit. And in a doubleheader later that
Backs up
night.
the curveball in off. A lot of people thought there might have been hit and run in play here.
A lot of time to extend it last night. Great
Wow.
system on left center field.
And Ernie, who's been doing an incredible job of hitting the ball where it's pitched all year, beats Shohei to the spot on this fastball. And maybe this is the first place where it shows up a little bit. Obviously, it's his last pitch. They go in here, but this ball just has no life to it. I mean, it's got decent action, but I don't know. Ernie's all over it. He gets the predictable 1-0 heater and just beats him to the spot. He's been so good at hitting the ball where it's pitched. You want to throw me in? I'll pull you. You want to throw me away? I'll drive it the other way. Ernie Clement has really opened a lot of eyes, I think, to guys this year about what a productive player and a winning player can look like, man. And the big key to his swing, you know, he knows that he's not going to hit a lot of home runs, and clearly he's been okay with that, because a lot of times guys this size in modern times, they would try to throw a leg kick in here. They would try to come up with some sort of way to launch more balls pull side. They probably get out of their line drive approach and they try to sell out for power. But Ernie doesn't do that. Look at the load. Look how simple that is. And why do I love simple loads at the plate? Because it just keeps you balanced. When you're dealing with such an array of pitches and velocity that the pitchers have today, I mean, it's like my dad always said, keep it simple, stupid. You know, just keep it simple. And that's what Ernie does. See the ball, hit the ball, wherever it's pitched, get the barrel to it. Gary Sheffield's talking about this last night at dinner. You could talk all you want, and you can drill yourself all you want about your swing, and that's all important work. Like, all that stuff matters, like all those little micro adjustments you make. But when you're in the box, your mindset's got to be simple. It's just like, get the barrel there. Beat them to the spot with the barrel. You know, get the barrel to the ball. And that's what Ernie does here. He just gets barrel to ball. So great swing right there. And that chased Shohei from the game and you know, this is where it got interesting. Dodgers end up going to Banda for the bottom of the order matchup here. Jimenez is the first batter.
Banda's a pitch. Jimenez comes through with a base hit to left center field. Varsho's in to score, and it's 3-1.
Just a beautiful. You've seen it from left-handed hitting our entire lives. Just this swing right here. I'm content to just serve it the other way. Little play coverage, little dink. So again, I'm going to give more credit to the Blue Jays than anything. This is a long drawn out at bat, but Jimenez, you know, nice piece of bat manipulation there. I do think there's a question here about Vesia. There's no doubt whatsoever. He's got his hands out. I'm just trying to see that. There's no doubt whatsoever that Vesia was a huge loss for the Dodgers. You have to put it out of your mind because it kind of is what it is. But yeah, I mean, they're kind of between a rock and the hard place. Who's in the trust tree? Who's coming in this spot? We mentioned the overload of the work yesterday. You're chasing a little bit in this game, and you're in a dire situation when he comes in. This is kind of where they're at in their bullpen. This is why the whole formula is beating these starters. Anyway, this was a whole nother baseball-y moment, though. This is almost horrible base running by Andres Jimenez. When you have no outs and you're on base, one of the first things that they're supposed to tell you, one of the first things they teach you is this move right here. They say freeze on the line drive. So what does that mean? If the ball's a line drive, you freeze. You don't move until you know what the heck happened. Jimenez tries to go somewhere here, just for a second. Here, watch him over here. This is Jimenez. The ball's hit. He starts going, and then he stumbles, realizing that he's not, like, he doesn't freeze. He takes that one little shuffle, and almost gets his ass out. Now, luckily he got back, so it's a non-play and it's kind of moot. But just for baseball purists and for the, for the fundamentals of it all, when you're on base with no outs, and you're especially first base, what do you have to watch out for? The line drive. Freeze on the line drive. Anyway, he ends up being overturned. He's safe there. So back to same situation. Now Ty France. This was a Blue Jay moment too. He puts it in play, but so weak that it gets the job done and it's effective. Obviously, if you're pitching in this situation, you're going for a strikeout or double play. But, he gets beat here, but perfect placement. And that gets the next run in. So 2 runs, both of them get cashed in. I think it's more so just a good approach by the Jays. They're just really hard to strike out. Like, you get in this situation, second and third, you're trying to figure out how to wiggle out of it. You're going to have to get at least one. You're going to have to get at least one strikeout or one weak pop-up in the infield, something where the runners can't advance. That's not the case. They battled him hard. 8-pitch at-bat, 6-pitch at-bat, Ty France, little dribbler. Then they have them walk Vlad, and it leads to Trinan. Now, Trinan comes on, and, man, it just continues to be a struggle for him. The command is a little bit off, and people are seeing the ball well off of him. And this was a great swing by Bo Bichette. Sinker down in, strike 1. And then sweeper.
The trusted arms in last season's championship has struggled mightily this October.
And it's just not where you want it. And Bo is so good at turning and burning on pitches in that are just sitting there on a tee for him. And he swats this ball, 109.6 at 17. Although let's just revert back to pitch number 1. This is a sinker at the bottom of the zone. Kind of middle. Bo doesn't even flinch at it. It comes out and he lets it go right away. It's a little bit. He's telling you a little bit that he's looking for off speed here. You might not read it, and they don't read it at all, obviously. But the fact that he doesn't even trigger at all at a fastball down the middle with a runner in scoring position, and it's Bo Bichette, who can be quite aggressive, that tells me that maybe he's looking for a breaking ball here. So they don't read that. They go ahead and throw it anyway. And then obviously the location is terrible. But credit to Bo. I mean, the way he spins, he keeps himself so stacked and he just rotates so efficiently and just snaps through this ball. So this is what you don't want to do as a pitcher, but it's a great job by a hitter. Great job by a hitter. Just torquing everything in. It does stay pretty tight. Look at this position. Who gets into that position really well, And that was pretty much it. From there, they pretty much just had to, carry it through. They ended up winning the game, but that was the Blue Jays offensively. Just an annoying team to face. I thought Shohei overall actually pitched a lot better than maybe I realized watching it live. There was a lot of good pitching in there. Good stuff. Not unhittable stuff, but good stuff. This is the other hit too, Barger. This is the last hit. And now we're going sinkers right on left. Like for a while, I don't know, Trinan has completely devolved. He used to never throw sinkers to lefties. Like when he first got to the Dodgers, they completely switched him off of that. And it totally started working for him. Like instead of throwing these sinkers away, which we all know might look like good pitches, but they yield a lot of hits. These little sinkers down and away to right on left. When he first came over and when he was shoving for the Dodgers, it was cutters up in here. They were using 4 seams up and then sweepers all to the back foot or sweepers back door. Sinker away was never really part of the game plan. But they're trying a whole bunch of different stuff right now with him. And that's a good piece of hitting by Barger. There's a big old hole over there. This is another reason why these pitches don't work as well for the pitcher, is just in a game where we're going to shade for the pull side most of the time in the infield, opposite field ground balls are going to play for batters, and that's going to happen on those sinker types. So anyway, trying to now, with 3 games to go, need to get 2 wins. You got to wonder, outside of Roki, and maybe now a couple other guys have gotten themselves in the mix. Maybe Enriquez comes back around. They trust him a little more. Klein's still probably another couple days away. But who are they going to trust the rest of the way? Bonda hasn't been particularly effective in this series. Neither has Trinan. Dreyer actually threw the ball pretty well. But, you know, it's a little bit of an issue for the Dodgers as we come down the stretch here. Now, they're going to still try to do it with their starters. They're going to go Snell, Yamamoto, and then a combination of Glasnow, Ohtani. So maybe there's not that many relief innings to go around anyway if they want to win. But the trust tree is small. Yeah, I think Shohei will be in the bullpen now or so, from this point forward. I mean, probably not next game, but probably 6 and 7. So that'll be interesting to see here. All right, what do we got here in the chat for a second? Bo was looking a lot more comfortable on that knee. There was a point where he tried to jump around Freeman on a clear out just to mess around. He definitely wouldn't do that if his knee was hurting. Yep, saw that too. I was very nervous about Bo's knee. The play he made up the middle in Rogers Center or Skydome or whatever we're calling it on this show early in that game 1 where he kind of like was up the middle and threw it and kind of backpedaled and got out of there. That play, he walked off very weird. Like I was there. He walked very uncomfortably, and it made me very nervous about that knee. But I will say, you're right. He's looked a lot more comfortable. He looks more athletic in the box. He's running better. He looks more freedom, like he's playing with more freedom, not thinking about it as much. Some questions about Yamamoto pitching. He's not pitching tonight. He's going to pitch Game 6 in Toronto. Game 5 tonight is Blake Snell. Everybody keeps talking about the no more DH if he comes out of the game. If they are bold enough to put him in the game in the bullpen and then the game progresses, I promise you he's not coming out of the game. You will see him in the outfield and everybody will be shocked by it. But Shohei's played the outfield before. He'll be in the outfield. It'll be fine. Can't be much worse than Teoscar out there, you know? I know it's a little weird, but he'll be fine. I don't think that's an issue. And 3 games left in the season, they'll make it work. All right, and then let's go ahead and watch Bieber now. Yeah, I think Game 7 is going to be Glasnow and Ohtani. I don't know which way they go, but those 2 guys are going to mainly get it. And then we'll just have to see after that. Am I rooting for one team or another? I think at this point, I mean, I've gotten everything I've wanted out of this series. We're going back to Toronto at least. We're going to get at least 6 or 7 games. I'm not rooting for either team. I mean, in a way, I like the idea of Toronto winning, just showing multiple paths to building a winning team. And I have some friends on the team that I would love to see win. But at the same time, I have some friends on the Dodgers as well. And it's not gonna change my sleep either way, whatever happens. But it's exciting. It's just an exciting series, and I love the styles, you know? I love the styles. All right, let's look at Shane Bieber, who started this game for the Blue Jays. And, man, he's made some big, important starts. This was now probably the trade of the year. Ross Atkins and the Jays people making the leap. They go ahead and trade for Bieber while he's still not even pitching yet, coming off Tommy John. They finish off his rehab. They inject him into the rotation. He's very good initially, then kind of like regresses a bit as the regular season ends. But he's been massive in the postseason, and they would not be 2-2 in the World Series without him. So this was a massive trade, a massive rental trade, very reminiscent of when we got Schwarber with the Red Sox that year while he had been hurt. And yeah, and Shane Bieber is going to get himself paid, former Cy Young Award winner, showing his health. His season's over now. I mean, maybe he can matriculate to the bullpen for a Game 7. No, I'm very pleased that he pitched as well as he did. He accomplished his mission. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 81 pitches. Let's check out how he did it. 27% fastball, 27% cutter. That's a huge boost from his 13% yearly average. 17% curve, 15 slider, and 14% changeup. So really mixed it up a lot with the off-speed pitches. Yeah, he did a good job mixing everything up. Velocity was very steady. Whiffs were low. So this was a pitch-to-contact approach in this game. Maybe he was trying to get his strikeouts, but he wasn't able to. However, he controlled contact extremely well. gave up some hard hit balls, but some balls were at some people. So I guess we're going to have to watch this. The velocity definitely trended down as the game went on, pretty steep. But I don't know. He made a lot of quality pitches, I guess. So let's watch. 61% first pitch strike is good enough. I actually would have thought it would have been higher, given given the amount of success he ended up having. But all right, let's take a pitch. Let's take a peek. So he starts off the game walking Shohei. This was like one of those feelings where it was like, he got walked 5 times the other day. So it's like, how are you going to pitch him? How are you going to pitch him? He ends up walking him this first time. Goes to a 90-mile-an-hour changeup here, kick change on 3-2. Oh, this was such a weird at-bat where there was like a call and a makeup call. But anyway, ends up walking the leadoff hitter. Never something you want to do, but let's watch how he gets these next outs. Here's a cutter to Mookie. Gets him reaching. We continue to talk about it, but Mookie just, it's a battle of how much you can execute on the outside corner, basically. Executes really well there, gets the pop-up. Here's Freddie. Going to get him with a changeup. I talked about changeup and how it's an important pitch to this Dodger team. It's a good one right there. Let's check the movement on Bieber's changeup here. Very, very good. So this had kind of disappeared for a little bit, and then it reappeared in the Seattle series. Finally getting that depth, that drop on this kick change. Look at this ball drop. That's pretty damn good. And this is an actual difference in Shane Bieber pre-Tommy John, post-Tommy John. He didn't have this pitch before. His stuff has actually improved since coming back, thanks to the pitch design of this new kick change. All right, and then the third at-bat, the third out in the first inning is Will Smith, fly out on a knuckle curve.
Freeman at first with 2 out. And this 1-1 to Will Smith.
This was a good swing, but it's really hard to drive a soft pitch the other way. So gets the favorable contact there. What do you have in the chat here? Big Yankee, Ayo, how do you get the software you use? It's from MLB. I have like a partnership with MLB, so they give me the goods. I got the goods, but it is private. So let's put up a poll for tonight's game while we're doing this. Game 5. Jays, Dodgers. All right, let's see what the people think. What the people think. All right, second inning. Teoscar ground out.
Talking to Dave Roberts, like he ain't bothered by anything, no matter what happens.
It's just good location, and that's Bieber's game. Some of the best command in the world. I actually think he's a very good example of the type of pitcher that a lot of teams are going to target moving forward. It's a guy who has incredible pitchability and command and feel for the game as a college starter with a proven track record. Maybe is lacking a little bit in terms of stuff. Like they haven't layered any new velocity onto him or pitch profiles. And you take a guy like that who already knows how to pitch and already knows how to command the ball, and you add stuff to him, then you might end up with a true #1 starter. That's kind of what's happened with Shane Bieber. His stuff got a little better. He figured out new pitches as his career went on, and he already had all the other abilities. So then you combine that together, and he got exponentially better when the Cy Young. Max Muncy with a walk, Tommy Edman with a single. There's a question in here about pitch. There's a question here about something. So why do pitchers seem to be better after Tommy John? Not really the case. Not universally, but I will say, oftentimes your elbow probably felt worse than you realized, or probably was less functional than you realized leading up to getting hurt. This is a good swing by Tommy Edman, a little line drive up the middle. Just gets on top of a 4-seam. And then all of a sudden you have a brand new elbow, and then you're like, holy cow. And it's actually like amazing that you're like, wow, this is what it feels like to feel good again. So I don't know. Sometimes maybe that has something to do with it. Also, a lot of times it's the first time in a really long time you got out of competition, so you get to like work on everything else in your game. Like maybe you need to get your leg strength figured out, or you have some lingering hip issues that you need to figure out, or you want to rework your mechanics or introduce something new. Like it gives you a chance to step back and actually do it, whereas all the other baseball players are just busy playing all the time, and it's really hard to take a step back. All right, so here's some big time pitching in my opinion. He got first and third, 1 out. Now remember, what I always say is crooked numbers win baseball games. You have first and third here. The worst thing you can do is allow 2 runs to score. The 1 run doesn't really matter. So I actually like the way he pitched Kike in this at-bat. And even though he ends up giving up a sac fly, he keeps him to the big part of the ballpark. We all know Kike wants to pull everything, but forces him to go the other way. Even though he has good contact, he doesn't have the juice to go that way. Teams have been getting burned that learned the lesson the hard way with Kike Hernandez. Like if you're going to throw him some spinning bullshit in the middle, he's going to turn and burn you and smash your ball. He's going to do real damage, doubles, homers, and everything to the pull side. But also, even if you leak a fastball middle in, that's what he wants. As good as Kike is, everything that he's going to do on the outer third like that is going to be a single. And if he gets the ball in the air, it's probably an out, and that's what happens here. So I like Bieber's location and his command. And yes, it's 1 run, but 1 run will not beat you. You have to score 1 to win anyway. And I didn't mind it. It limited the damage here, and he just stayed locked in. And then he goes after Pages, who I'm pretty sure is not playing anymore. I heard that Doc or Dave Roberts said that the lineup will look a little different tomorrow, probably. I'm assuming he's talking about Pages. At a certain point, you've got to pull the chute. He's just not getting hits. He just tries to pull everything. This is a cutter away. He tries to pull it. Comes off it just a bit, so he doesn't get through it. 97-3, and it's a fly out. You got to hold your breath a little bit, but they're flyouts, you know? All right, 3rd inning. Punches out Shohei. Let's watch this whole at-bat. Let's see how he gets Shohei. Second time through. Walked him the first time. Change up down ball. Change up again.
Corey Seager set the all-time record of walks in a series, right?
Man, and the changeup's got such good action. I mean, it's getting negative vert consistently. It's a big level up for him. All right, now there's that cutter. So the whole series, they've been trying to throw 4-seamers in, cutters in. This is the first time they actually get one like kind of in off the plate with a little bit of movement on it, and Shohei does miss it. And actually, his whole hand comes off the bat in a very awkward fashion. I wonder if this felt bad on his shoulder. Like, this is your pitching arm, your lead arm, your right arm here. And watch how awkward this swing is. Like, the hand is gone, and then your arm is just getting ripped back. I always felt like this was tough on the front of my shoulder. This moment here where you're trying to slow the bat down. I don't know how he hits this aggressively and then pitches. He's got to have some regimen for his shoulder, man. All right, so that was what that gets him to 1-2. Here comes the knuckle curve. I love cutter to curveball. Great sequence typically. Almost gets the trigger. Great location below the zone. No dice. Now he's going to go back to that changeup. And he locates it really, really well. Perfect location. So again, Bieber is a combination of pitch sequencing, you know-how, reading swings, and then ultimately execution. Like, he executes. He gets the ball where he wants it. And he gets the punch out there of Shohei. Really, really nice. All right, Mookie. How does Shohei in the bullpen work? It's a little bit of a hodgepodge. Like, he'd be playing the game, DHing, and then as the game would start trending towards him, depending on where he was in the lineup, he would find a way to throw a little bit to get himself going. And then maybe they even build like a mound in the cage. You know, some teams have that. They have multiple cages, and one of them has a mound. So maybe he'd be able to warm up in the same place as he's hitting. So he wouldn't have to be running back and forth to as far of a bullpen. Now in the road, that won't really work. But they come up with a system. You come up with a system. Man, see what happens when you try to go inside to Mookie? You just can't go in there. The whole freaking series, I'm like, stay away, stay away, stay away. It's not like he's ever going to change his approach. inside, he's a madman. He's just ready to hit.
Anybody.
And he bullets this ball down the line. 100.4. It just happens to be that Ernie's playing on the line. So kind of a lucky outcome there for Bieber, mainly because they had a guy playing on the line. All right, Freddie's going to get a hit on a cutter. But you see the counts, 0-2. Getting to a good count a lot now. Man, what a good swing, huh? Just going the other way with that ball. That little up and away cutter. Freddie's in protect mode. Hits it where it's pitched. It's just a good swing, man. Reminds me of Joe Mauer. All right, Will Smith. Man, a lot of cutters. I'm surprised. Both righties and lefties, but doing a great job of locating them right on the corner. You know, how many pitches have we seen right on the corner? Look at that. That's a good pitch. Up and away. Smith comes out and around that ball. And Ernie Clement continues to be a vacuum over there at third. So he made 2 nice plays in this inning. And that was the end of the 4th. All right, what else we got in here? Yeah, we're going to look at the pitchers for today in a minute. I know, but we're still trying to get through a little bit of this. All right, 4th inning. First pitch, knuckle curve.
Roberts, Dave, it's not often I ask you about your starting pitcher coming off.
Get out of here, Tom Verducci. Man, that was a good pitch to hit, but he didn't hit it.
First out, coming off a...
One out there. Pajes again. Trying to pull everything again. Slices under it. Pajes is just in a weird spot. His bat, he's not swinging where he thinks he is what I think's happening. Ooh, and then a 3-pitch strikeout of Shohei to end the 5th. Well, wait, hold on. What am I? Where am I? Oh, I missed a whole bunch of shit. Teoscar fly out. Muncy strikeout. Sorry, I jumped around a little bit.
They walked Muncy his first time, and Muncy came in to score the Dodgers run.
Perfect pitch below the zone. And Bieber really, they had their chance early. He minimized the damage, and then after that, man, he executed. He really did. Good pitch there. Here's Kike again. Keep him going the other way. Yep, does it again. Same deal. There's certain types of contact with certain hitters that you're totally okay with. The first time I ever heard anything about this was like, I remember I got to the big leagues and we were playing a team that had David Eckstein on it. And I remember Dave Duncan, who was pitch coach for the Cardinals, was like, oh, David Eckstein, try to get him to hit a fly ball. But like at that time, we had only talked about guys getting grounders and stuff. So then I was like, oh, like if he can't really take you deep, shit, let him try to take you deep. Let him do something he can't do. And so that's what we did against, what's his name, David Eckstein back in the day. So it makes sense what the strategy is a little bit with Kike. Make him try to hit a ball in the air the other way. All right, so we watched Pajes pop up, and then there's the Shohei. Here's the Shohei at bat. Here we go. Second out of the 5th here. First pitch curveball. He's early on that and hits it off his own shin. This was a weird foul ball. Ow. It's just annoying. Well, let me see Shohei's reaction from the side. Because you know he always has a good reaction. Oh, the poor guy. He just has too many jobs to do. All right, so 0-1 count on a curveball. Here comes a 4-seam. Probably up in. This is what they've been doing all year. I mean, all series. But he gets it there. Great pitch. Shohei's onto it. He's definitely onto it, like the one he hit off Max yesterday. But if you locate, I mean, what are you going to do? This ball's a little too high for him. He can't do anything about that. Foul ball. All right, knuckle curve.
It eliminated that pitch.
Man, curveball, fastball, curveball. And this one's backdoor. So he leaves it away. Great catch by Kirk. Man, such a tough catch here. And this ball just tickles the corner. So, gets Shohei's twice. Keeps him off the base path. Keeps him out, keeps their rallies down. And then a first pitch out for Mookie. Let's see if it's away. Or if he makes the mistake in again. Gets it away, gets him out. Gets him off the end. It's not rocket science. It's actually so simple with a great player like Mookie. For some reason, man. Brett B. Kirk always putting on that framing masterclass. He is. He's sick with it. All right, 6th inning. This is his last inning. Gets into a little trouble, and then we'll watch Fluharty get out of it. But just a great game. Just a great game. Yep, doesn't quite locate this curveball the same way. It's still a 1-run game at this moment. Ball's hit pretty dang hard. Just doesn't get the curveball below the zone, which is where he got it before versus Freddie. Doesn't quite get it there. And, Freddie's that good. So, wham. Vlad does his best. Can't really do much about that. Now, Will Smith. Got a question about how hard it is from Lifted here, how hard it is for Mookie to change his approach and slap those balls for Oppo singles. It should be a part of his game for sure, and at times I've seen it be a part of his game. But when you have a guy who's so good at pulling the ball, I mean, it's a fine line. Like if they miss just a inch or two into the plate, he can get around those balls and hook them and pull them, and he's been amazing at that his whole career. So he don't want to miss out on the opportunity to do the damage. So I don't blame him for not just selling out for the other approach, but it could be a part of his game with 2 strikes at times, especially when teams are showing him they will not give him what he wants. We used to run into this watching Arenado. I'm going to talk to Nolan. We're going to have Nolan on the show pretty soon. I have him scheduled once the offseason comes. One thing that's been interesting watching him progress over his career is he's also like a huge pull power guy, trying to develop that oppo power, ultimately probably hurting himself in the process and having to learn to just take singles at times over there. But it's a tough choice because, again, what's Mookie going to do? He's not going to be hitting opposite field home runs with his stature. So if he goes into that approach, it starts to kind of change a little bit of who he is as a player. So there's the line out. Kept that pitch away, and then here's Teoscar, who smashes his first pitch slider, and then they immediately get Bieber out of this game. But he did a really good job getting them to this point. I do think this 3rd time through the order, guys seem to be very aggressive on him. They were sitting in that medium speed band, which he's been throwing a ton of cutters and sliders, right? So that set up the first moment, and Schneider decided to make the move. He goes to Mason Fluharty for Max Muncy and Tommy Edman, and then look how this boy clutches up. This is actually the pitching performance of the night in terms of clutch. This was the Dodgers' chance to seize the lead here. First pitch cutter away. Muncy just slices off of it, and it's a harmless fly out on the first pitch. Could not be a better outcome right there. 1 pitch, 1 out. They can't move anywhere. We've noted that Fluharty got a little sweeper happy in his last appearance. He was just sweeper. He has this cutter. Why not throw this cutter a little bit? It's a little bit of a weird pitch. You have a weird presentation to the batter. You kind of closed off, hold the ball. Throw your cutter. That will help your sweeper, but don't just sit there and throw sweeper. Goes cutter. This time gets the fly out. And then there's the Tommy Edman 3-pitch strikeout. And this is a tough guy to strike out in this spot. He has nails at putting the ball in play, as we all know. But Fluharty throws a freaking great at-bat here. Perfect sweeper. Kind of pretty good where you have to swing at it. But it would have been a little below the zone. So this was like kind of served two purposes.
Switch hitter.
Didn't really give him the right information about the lane he needs to swing in, but also got the swing and miss on a ball. Now he's going to double up on that. See the execution here. Pretty good again. Almost identical. So Edman now fires at 2 pitches below the zone that he doesn't really want. And then triple sweeper. And this one, the whole point here is got to be the most unhittable of those 3. And it is. Unbelievable job. This one, he gets above that ball. If you watch him, I will go back to it in a second, but if you watch him, he was going like across, and on that one he got like a little bit hiked up, and that's why you see a little bit more depth and drop to it. Look at the metric on this. This one's got negative 5.1. That's pretty good drop. So he turned his sweeper into a slurve here. I'm curious what the metric was on the others. Negative 3.8 on this one, negative 2.7 on the first one. So progressively, as the at-bat went on, his sweeper got more depthy, and then really depthy on the third one. And you can really see it on the third one because this pitch goes into the unhittable territory, which is below. Really good pitch there. And Edman, who gets 3 sweepers in a row, you would have thought he would have put one of those in play. Doesn't. So big time, big cojones stuff from Fluharty. That set them up. We watched the rally where they extended the lead versus Shohei. Seabass came in, 20 pitches, 6 outs. Fantastic. Not only gets a big amount of outs, but also is quite efficient. Now, where I do question things quite a bit is Varland pitching in this game. He's pitched just too much. He didn't need to pitch up 5. I don't know who else you needed to pitch, but he's now completely overexposed. They've seen him in 3 of the 4 games. He's now, I believe, at 87 games on the season. He's deep. Like, they're probably going to need him in at least two of these 3 games, if not all 3. I would have held him back. I would have held him back there and pitched anybody else. Even though it worked out yesterday, he did give up 1 run. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop with Varland. In a big spot the rest of the way. They've seen him a lot. So I just, it's working, but we're getting to a point where we've learned this over the course of time. You cannot do this forever. You know, it will not work. Teams will get used to this dude. All right, let's look at the metrics real quick on a couple guys. No doubt Bassett has been greatly, given a little shot in the arm by going to the bullpen. The velocity's been a lot better. His stuff's been playing different. I love the fact that he's stripped down his mix a little bit, and he's gone a lot more to like a fast, 2 shapes of fastballs, and then that curveball, that really slow contrast. I mean, 92.8 to 70.9 is freaking cool, man. Really, really cool. Great comment here. He's this year's Brandon Morrow. What's my wife sending me? Ooh. Wow. Very cool. It's a potential. It may or may not be a thing that we're going to put in the merch shop once we get these made. Something for winter. Yeah, my wife's saying that she thinks she nailed it. Yeah, I think she nailed it too. All right. And then Varland, the velo is still the same, basically. Tried to mix in some sinkers last night. 4-seam curveballs. I just think he's thrown too much. And I guess that's it for a review of last night's game. Great game by the Jays. Well-pitched game, good offensive approach versus Shohei. And I'm going to throw up a graphic real quick right here with the pitching usage while I go to the bathroom. And then we'll come back and talk a little bit about where we're at, and we'll preview Game 5. All right, so just hang with me here on Baseball and Coffee. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, so we take a look at this list at all. You can see the predicament on both sides. On the Jays side, Lauer threw that 68 pitches, so he's probably back in play probably for Game 6, but I wouldn't say for tonight. Varland, I mean, shit, he's in play because he's in play every day, but now he's gone back-to-back 20-pitch outings, so 40 pitches in the last 2 days. Not ideal. Plus, they've seen him 3 out of the 4. I just would not have pitched him in this game. I just wouldn't have. Hoffman even warmed up behind him. Ended up not pitching, but he was getting hot. He was probably one batter away from coming in. Little, they clearly don't trust him. He's fine, though, probably now for a short stint. Bassett, he's never pitched 3 days in a row, but I have a feeling he'll be chomping at the bit to contribute. Sir Anthony's good to go. Fisher is good to go, but they kind of overexposed him earlier, and Fluharty's fine. Only throwing 4 pitches yesterday is great. So they have arms, but I just didn't like the Varland move. I don't know if you guys, what you guys think about that. Hold on, I'm sorry for the disturbance, but I need to eat a piece of this banana bread. So I'm going to do that for a sec. Brett B, they can't put Springer on the IL for a pitcher. They can only do it for a position player. All right, on the Dodgers side, Will the Thrill Klein cannot pitch today. I hate to tell you. If he can, it would be very limited. 72 pitches on Monday. He's sore as shit today. Emmett Sheehan, he's back in the mix today. That's huge because I thought he threw the ball really freaking well against the Jays the other night. And I think as long as he locates, he's actually not a bad matchup. He did get worn down in that game 1, but I think he'll be important. Dreyer pitched. He's probably out. Enriquez is back in the mix. Sasaki, 2 innings is definitely a possibility today, if not more. Roboleski available. Trinan available. Who knows? Same with Banda. And then Clayton. How are they going to use Clayton? I could see maybe a matchup situation for Kirsch, but I'm looking at beyond Snell today. Definitely Sasaki, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Enriquez in there. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Enriquez in there. They did try Sheehan behind Snell in game 1, and that didn't work out. So that'll be intriguing to see what they do. Obviously, on the Jays side, it's Savage today. So, anyway, that was fun to look at for a second. Savage and Snell. So these guys locked up in game 1, which was when? Was that Friday night? Yeah, I was at this game. So this is a rematch for these two guys. Snell versus Savage. It was a weird game. Savage didn't have his split. We'll focus on him first, the rookie. Obviously, this is a guy that we've been watching pitch a lot, right? Trey Savage. It's the 4-seam, it's the slider. Well, really, it's the splitter, and then it's also the slider. But in this game, he went immediately away from his split, which is his best pitch. Look at the usage in game 1 out of Savage. 48% fastball, 40% slider, 13% split. I think the feel for the split was the issue. If he has the feel for the split today, I love the fact that he didn't show them a ton of them. And then maybe he can really go heavy on the split today. But if he doesn't, he's going to regress back to this 4-seam slider approach. And that slider does not play really that well versus right-handers. It kind of comes back to the zone a little bit. It has reverse movement on it. And if he becomes a one-trick pony with the fastball, they can also hit it despite its outstanding vertical break. It averages 20 inches induced vertical, which is great. I just think the fastball slider, he needs that split as well. Now, if you remember, though, he did come back with a clutch 4th inning, which was good Savage. Bad Savage was kind of how he tiptoed around in the first few innings. But he then ended up pitching pretty well in that 4th inning, which actually was a massive inning. All right, so Jays, Dodgers from game numero uno. Trey Savage. And why is the splitter so important? It's because it's just such a devastating put-away pitch. This is actually one of the few good ones he threw in this game, was this split to Shohei in the first at-bat of the game. Man, it's just devastating. We've seen it the whole time we've been watching him pitch. Left-handers, if he can get ahead of you, especially with some sort of strike down in the zone, and then you get this split, and he's not, he's generally throwing it, near the bottom or below, you're going to get crazy amounts of chase and swing and miss. Problem is, he just lost it after that. He didn't have it the rest of the way. So, I think he was a little tired. He's deep into no man's land, but he's got one more game to give it his all. It's his first road playoff game in Dodger Stadium, so this is a little bit of a different scenario. But I did think the way he finished this game, let's watch these last, I don't know, what is this, 14 pitches? And let's get a sense of how, when it went well, what did it look like at the end without a split. So first batter here is Muncy to end the third. Four-seam down. Here's a split for a called strike. He started trying to get the split back involved the second time through. But again, just because he didn't have it in game 1 doesn't mean he won't have it in game 5. And in fact, I kind of like the fact now, looking back on it, that they were able to win and he wasn't the best version of himself in that first game, because that means he's leaving a lot on the table. This is a good slider. The angle on his pitch is crazy. And he started really locating the slider down below the zone as he figured it out at the end. So I think there's plenty of chase available below the zone to these Dodger hitters. But he's got to establish strike one. He's got to land his split for strikes at time, and he's got to have a feel for all 3 pitches. He doesn't have enough other pitches to dance around not having one of his 3. I mean, look, Max Muncy doesn't chase like this. Max Muncy doesn't swing at pitches a foot off the plate. That's how good this splitter can be. He should not go away from it today. He should make sure he gets this pitch locked in. And don't give up on it if you don't have it. Keep working on it between innings, whatever you got to do. All right, so that's a strikeout of Muncy. And then the 4th inning, which was his best inning, which honestly, in the moment, I didn't think this dude should even go out for this inning. But it was actually incredibly impressive how he stepped up and pitched better when he was clearly exhausted and didn't have great feel. Shows kind of the mental fortitude and all that this dude has. So fastball away dotted, fastball away dotted. So they're already back onto the plan of staying away from Kike. And then this is a devastating slider below the zone.
Thanks so much, Dave.
All right, TB.
It's Kike Hernandez starting this 4th for his Dodgers.
Yeah, so perfect sequence there. It's all set up by that fastball location. Here's Edman.
Side of throwing it at that release point. And the upside is it's just tough to
I
hit.
don't know where my coffee went. Did I drink all of it already? Fuck. I'm going to have to go get a new coffee
That's been the
in
issue
a little
today.
bit.
Tommy Edman here, bases
Edman batting right-handed, by the way. So that's a whole nother dynamic. Because of the split and the action on Savage, Edman doesn't even hit left-handed.
could be worse. 7 base runners for the Dodgers and only those 2 runs.
So that's just weird. Like, you're now it's so weird when you're facing a guy who doesn't do what he normally does. So like, your scouting information means nothing. Yeah, see, look, even that split, that's a super hanger. And I think there was a question in the chat about how do people lose splits. It's just such a feel pitch, like it's a slip pitch. It slips out of your fingers. So anytime you have a pitch like that slips, there's a high degree of variance with it. And on a given day, like if you don't have your grip just right or your feel just right for it, you can lose it pretty quick. Anyway, see how he's locating those sliders down? That's the secret sauce. When he can get ahead in the count and then execute below with either the slider or the split, it's pretty much game over. So what are we looking for today? We're looking for his first pitch strikes overall to set himself up for success, and then we're also looking for how he's hitting command-wise with his 2 off-speed pitches. In game 1, he was only 50% first pitch strike. That's not going to cut it. He needs to be better than that. He also didn't even attempt any first pitch splitter strikes. So we're looking for a much better job on first pitch strikes is the first thing I would say. Velocity, I mean, I'm not that concerned about it, but obviously if he comes out throwing 92, then you got to watch out a little bit for that. But ultimately, his game is built on chase and on whiff. And this last game, only 22% chase, which is very low for him. The key to that is really the first pitch strike rate. If the first pitch strike rate can get up around 65, 70%, that's going to get him in better counts, and then the chase comes back into play. You can get to that splitter more often. If he's not hitting with first pitch strikes, look for it to be another tough day for you, Savage. Also, on the Dodgers side, you have to play as many righties as you can. So even if you don't play Pages, you need to replace him with another right-handed bat. would be my guess. I think right-handed bats are the way to go against Savage. Obviously, you have the big three that are going to play, Muncy, Freeman, and Shohei. But beyond that, I want to be pretty right-handed if I can against Savage. All right, on the other side of things is Blake Snell. Now, Blake Snell had been on an absolute burner. My coffee is to the left of me. Whatever. Oh, yeah, it's way over there. But I think I drank it all. Yeah, so I think Alex Call might be the move today. That'll be interesting. But anyway, all right, on the other side of things, Blake Snell, who had been on a crazy burner, as we know, looked incredible in his starts earlier in the postseason. Ran into a little bit of trouble in this game. On a very basic level, he didn't have the same level of command. 50% first pitch strike for Snell, so that's not good enough. Didn't get himself in quite the right counts. Also, his whiff, way lower than he's used to getting. Only 21% whiff in that game. Particularly struggled with getting the whiff on his changeup, which has been such a devastating pitch for him. 16 swings, 5 whiffs on changeup. I think a lot of it was command. He threw a lot of non-competitive changeups in this game. So even before I watch any of the tape, you know, Blake Snell, another one who has to be ahead in the count. He has to be landing the changeup. Changeup command is big. Curveball command is big. I think his stuff will be good. He held his stuff pretty much the whole game the other day. So I don't think we'll have any issue with stuff. In terms of velocity, it looks fine. But we're looking for very basic stuff with Snell. He can't afford to be pitching behind in the count and have to try to go with this like nibbling behind in the count approach to the Blue Jays. I think that plays right into their game. They're a tough matchup for him. They're definitely a tough matchup for him overall. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Now, of course, a lot of it was when he got pulled, but let's go see that 4th inning when they first got the first few runs off of Snell. Oh, let me get back to inning number 1 in this game, because if we recall, they really won this game in a lot of ways with the pressure they put on him right away in game number 1. 2 outs, nobody on, ground out, pop out, then a Vlad Jr. 7-pitch walk. A little bit of an ill-advised curveball there. Then Bichette, and this is what I mean, like 3-0 changeup, worrying about getting ambushed, trying to go into a little bit too much of a nibble mode. I mean, he gets bad luck there as Bo kind of rolls it into right field. But getting to a 3-0 count there, that's kind of the bad news, is the 3-0 count. Then he ends up walking Kirk on a 9-pitch at bat. There was a lot of Blake Snell's very good at not giving in. Very good at being like, you're gonna hit my pitch on my terms, and if you don't, I'll get the next guy out. This is why the walk rate has gone up at times. Teams dig in with this approach of seeing a lot of pitches or fouling pitches off, knowing how hard he is to hit, but at the same time, he's a smart pitcher. Like, he's got a man in scoring position here. He knows he has a base to work with. This is a modern approach. The 3-2 chase pitch with a man with a base open and 2 outs. It's like, I'm going to give him a chance to swing at a bad pitch. But the Blue Jays combine a pretty good level of plate discipline with their zone contact rate. It's not just a wild swing approach. They also have really good plate discipline to go along with it. So even though they don't score in this inning and it ends with Varsho flying out, this was pitch number 29 in the first inning. This is the formula to beating Blake Snell. Don't allow him to get any quick outs. Make him go deep count with every single batter and continue to try to make perfect pitch after perfect pitch. That's where the mistakes will happen. You also have a shot to get him out of the game earlier, which is obviously what you want to do coming off of the way that you've swung it versus this Dodger bullpen outside of the marathon game and those 2 pitchers. But they've had much better at-bats. Much better at-bats, I would say, off the relievers. All right. 2nd inning, single, strikeout. All right, so let's watch him do some things well. What did it look like when he did it well? Change up down. Oh, change up middle up. See you later. Oh, Miles Straw, not sure he'll be in the lineup, to be honest. He has not had very good at-bats, so I don't see him being in there today.
Side of it.
And then here's Jimenez with the fastball. Fastball up, gets him. And then... But even like these innings with the zeros at the beginning, they were putting some stuff together with him. Like they bailed him out a little bit with this play, if you recall, with some aggressive base running. It's actually a really good play by Snell here. He gets all turned around, but then he stays active and makes a really strong throw to third, and they cut down Clement there. But again, he didn't have to get all his outs on the field. I don't think he was trending very well throughout. I think they could have had more innings where they got runs off of him, but there was a couple things that went wrong there, right? Third inning, starts it off with a strikeout of Schneider. All right, so he needs to get ahead in the count. He needs to land his changeup, particularly down and away to righties. Like, that's a good pitch right there, down, middle, bottom. He needs to activate the curveball early in the count for first pitch strikes. It's really just a command situation and not trying to nibble so much. He has to trust himself in contact situations a little bit more. All right, Vlad got a hit on a changeup. So first at bat, he walked him. Second at bat, gets a hit on a changeup here. Pulls the outside changeup. I think that's a good pitch. It's a pretty good. Give Vlad's family up here. That's a pretty good pitch, honestly. He just pulls an outside pitch, happens to hit it hard because he's Vlad. You know, 102 gets it through. Then he got the Bo Bichette double play, but it's like it just kept going and it just kept going and it just kept going. And then fourth inning, I mean, 8 pitches just to give up this single to Kirk. So this is the type of thing I'm talking about. He just could not get his usual level of, you know, just easy outs. The Jays had such a good approach against Snell in game 1. That's what he needs to do. Drop in that curveball early. I think maybe utilize the fastball in a little bit more, keep them from diving. But it's not typical that he can't put a guy away in 6 pitches after an 0-2 count. That's very atypical for Snell. Fastball up doesn't work there. So I think Ernie bats leadoff if Springer can't play. I would like that. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I like the contact guys against Snell. So Ernie, I would love to get him in there. Yeah, Craig Hunt's talking about Straw's non-competitive at-bats. I agree. I don't think I would play Miles Straw tonight. Man, just can't get the ball by Kirk. Jimenez batting .500 with runners in scoring position this postseason. The Jays are just full of those annoying hitters that are going to put the ball in play, you know, in that spot where you're looking for no contact. We saw that at bat, Banda versus Jimenez, where he fed it off the other way. Man, Kirk goes with this changeup. This is what you got to do. This is the first time I've seen anybody do this, really. They get the changeup away, and they don't pull off of it off Snell. They drive it the other way. It's got to be a little shocking to the system when all these pitches were literally like de-batting dudes on the Brewers just like 5 days prior. And then Varsho clipped him on the home run. Now, Varsho should be an automatic out for Snell. This is the one pitch. The one pitch that he has to watch out for versus Varsho is the middle down fastball. So, and when they match up today, he's going to get nothing but off speed and fastballs at the top. He's never getting another fastball middle down. But this is what Varsho's hoping for the entire time he's hitting every time. Just give me something in my honey hole, middle down. So I would expect Snell to adjust off of that. He might even go in a little bit to Varsho. All right, so that was the 4th inning. That was the first little wave of runs. But again, even in the 5th inning, it started with a single, Springer, then he gets double play, then he gets a ground out. Like, it was never really easy for him. That's what the Jays need to keep doing. Keep making it hard. Keep making him make tough pitches. Keep making him have to nibble. Don't let him just go right down the middle and attack you. All right, 6th inning. This is the inning where they really break them, obviously. Starts with a walk by Bichette. I want to watch this whole at-bat. Change up down, ball 1. Change up again. So you got a 2-2 game, bottom of the 6th. Snell comes out, change up. That's his basically become his primary pitch recently. Triple change up. But all three of them are down. Checking the mound quite a bit. Let me just look from the side. Is his front foot slipping at all? Because he keeps looking. No. Everything looks pretty normal there. So I don't know, but he kept checking the mound. He was confused about something. Something didn't feel right, but triple changeup didn't execute any of them. So again, like trying to be too perfect. Greg Maddux said it. He just tried to throw good pitches, not great pitches. Great pitches are happy accidents. If you throw enough good pitches, you'll run into a lot of great pitches. But if you try to be great all the time, oftentimes that's too it's too granular a focus, and oftentimes you actually make bigger misses doing that, is what Greg Maddux said. Just continue to throw good pitches and you'll run into great pitches. And I think, you know, when you're trying to get ahead in the count, it looked like he tried to be perfect with all three of those first changeups. And it comes back to bite him. He works his way back to 3-2, then ultimately an arm side flyer. Also, Bichette, we talked about it a lot with his two-strike approach. He just keeps the foot anchored down, doesn't move it, allows him to see the ball really freaking well, and he's one of the best in the game at not chasing on 3-2. So draws that leadoff walk, gets the party started. That's what the Jays are going to try to do again today. Hit the ball where it's pitched. Definitely the righties have to be aware of that changeup game away and not be afraid to drive it the other way. If it were me, I would force, if I was hitting right-handed versus Blake Snell, I would force him to throw me 3 fastballs inside. I would stay on my approach of that the soft away is coming, whether it be the curveball or changeup, and I'm going to use the whole field with it. That would be my approach. I know it's hard to do, but that would be my approach. Here's Kirk. Kirk's got the plan. Kirk knows to go the other way. He went the other way for that hit the last time, and he goes the other way this time. Takes the slider, takes advantage of that big-ass hole over there. This is great situational hitting. This is why I hated pitching with runners on first. It's not just the steals. It's also just like the defensive alignment. Look at this defensive alignment. Second baseman's pinched up the middle. Freddie's on the bag. You could drive a freaking truck through here, man. And Kirk's pretty good at manipulating the bat and getting the ball to go the other way. Like, this is just a sitting duck situation as a pitcher. You know, you're trying to get a ground ball because the guy's slow and you're going to get a double play. But he's also so good at just going the other way. You never want to face Kirk in that spot. So, 2 hits there. And again, I think the approach is what drives that. Willing to go the other way, forcing him to make tough pitches. And then Varsho really seals the deal here. Again, this should be an automatic out for Snell. These should be easy automatic outs. But Varsho slaps an at-bat on him here. 9 pitches, ends up getting hit by a pitch, and eventually chases Blake from the game. So, what are we looking for from Snell today? We're looking for first pitch strikes. So, establish that fundamental. We're looking for that fastball command, particularly to the glove side, or, you know, inside versus the righties, which is what really sets the trap for all his other pitches. We're also looking for changeup quality. Are all his changeups for balls, or is he throwing some of them for strikes? You know, these are all important things. You can't get away only one way. You have to get away, you have to get ahead multiple ways. And on the Jays side, you know, do they continue with their good approach? See pitches, foul pitches off, hit the ball where it's pitched, you know, or do they try to come outside of themselves at times? If you try to come outside of yourself versus Snell, it's not going to work. We've mentioned how hard he is to hit, how good he is at getting people to chase.
Almost made it.
Tried a lot of sliders here, which typically would wipe him out. It's also a pitch count thing too. I mean, Snell knows he's got 100 pitches in this game. He's got to go as deep as he can. They really want to go Snell to Roki if they can. But as a pitcher, you just got to collect outs one at a time. You can't think about that. But I mean, you see how it's working out. I mean, even this curveball, this is scary as a pitcher. I mean, that's kaboomed. He's just ahead of it. But then you're like, damn, like that spooks you a little bit. Now he's like, okay, the pitch is up and in fastball, but I got to make the pitch, and it's 3-2. You don't have count leverage here. And he ends up hitting him, you know. So definitely fatigue sets in there, but honestly, it was forced fatigue. You know, like in tennis, they talk about forced errors. I feel like a lot of this stuff was a forced error on Blake Snell. Tremendous job. Only 4 strikeouts for Blake Snell is not typical. So the Jays, they really get to him. 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 walks. That's 11 base runners on Blake Snell. He's been averaging a sub-1 whip for a really long time now. So typically in a 5-inning game, you're looking at 3 to 4 base runners versus Blake Snell. They go ahead and put 11 on him. And it was all with good plate discipline, hitting the ball where it's pitched. Not trying to do too much, knowing, and each individual guy understanding where their opportunities are. Like even with Varsho understanding what he can and can't do. Being aggressive in that second at-bat to a pitch down because he got wiped out pretty good in that first at-bat. Being aggressive to a pitch down is what he's looking for. Don't let Snell get comfortable. Don't let him think he can just pour in a first pitch heater on you at the bottom of the zone and then he's going to go to work from there. No, be aggressive. And then in that next at-bat, just hanging in there. So now when he faces him, on paper, Varsho's a terrible matchup versus Blake Snell, but he's just seen him now 3 at-bats, including a home run, and the dynamic shifted a little bit. Now Snell's wondering, shit, this is another guy now that I have to go off of my scripted game plan to get out. That's not a comfortable place to be. And I love the Jays' chances in this game. Now, by the same token, do we really think Blake Snell's going to throw 2 semi-clunkers out there in a row? Probably not. But I love the Blue Jays' chances stylistically versus Snell. We've seen how it's worked against the 3 pitchers that tend to go for a lot of strikeouts on the Dodgers. Glasnow, Snell, and Ohtani. Those are basically 3 punch-out or bust pitchers. I mean, they have some contact ability, but let's be honest, they're trying to punch tickets all day long. Whereas Yamamoto, yes, he gets his strikeouts, but he's really, really good. Yoshi's different. He's really good at facing contact lineups. In Japan, the place where he won 3 MVPs, 3 Sawamuras, had 1 ERAs, like crazy. In that league, the whole style is contact. The whole style is put the ball in play, bunts, action game. There's not a ton of power in the league. So Yamamoto knows how to dominate that, and he's learned in his first little while in America how to figure out the power game. So he's much more equipped to face the Blue Jays than any of the other starters. If this was any other matchup, and it wasn't the Jays, Snell, Glasnow, and Ohtani would probably be the dominant guys in the series because they'd be wiping you out with punch-outs. But the Jays' offense, can frustrate that style of pitcher. If you don't have an idea of how to contact control out there and an ability to execute that game plan or the arsenal built for it, it's going to be a challenge. Yamamoto has the arsenal built for it. The splitter is getting ground balls all day. The curveball is really good, 2-speed down, pop-up pitch. When he goes up in the zone, he gets that flat approach angle and gets a lot of pop-ups. He also has impeccable command, which is what you need. So Yamamoto's incredible. I mean, he gets his strikeouts when he happens to get to 2 strikes, but he doesn't go out there looking for 3 whiffs, if that makes sense. Some guys just are out there trying to get 3 whiffs, and it's really hard to do, particularly against the Jays. Yamamoto is totally content to let you hit his pitch on the way to 2 strikes, and then once they get to 2 strikes, he can go ahead and try to wipe you out. But I think that's a little bit of the difference. Can Snell find the type of contact he's looking for, which for the most part versus the Jays is going to be flyouts. And there's a few guys that you want ground balls, which I would guess would be mostly Vlad and probably maybe Kirk. But you're in a good spot if you're getting weak flyouts, if you're getting, above the barrel on Schneider, above the barrel on Bichette, above the barrel on Varsho, above the barrel on Clement. Definitely Straw if he plays. Maybe Lucas gets some action today because he's had such good at-bats. I know it's left on left. Probably not. And then Jimenez is another one that you'd like to have in the air as well, especially to the opposite field. Doesn't have a lot of pop. So Snell, maybe the fastball up is a little bit of the play. If he can locate that fastball up and in, maybe that's the antidote to a little bit of the Blue Jay approach, but I think that command piece is going to be big. He's got to locate that fastball up and in on the strike zone to the righties. Kirk, I think, is more of a, you want him to, his launch to be extremely high or extremely low. You want to keep him out of the line drive band, but I mentioned a little bit with Kirk. His swing has a lot of forward movement in it. So I just think the speed game is the biggest thing when facing Kirk. He did go 3 for 3 off of Snell. 9-pitch walk. Here's that single, and I just want to show from the side angle on Mr. Alejandro Kirk what we're working with the swing here. This is what I mean by he's got a lot of forward movement. You see he starts back, but he goes way forward in his swing. Now, a lot of guys don't do this anymore. They kind of sit on that back hip, and then they want to rotate around their spine. They don't want to get in this position where they're too extended, and then they have a hard time staying back on pitches. But Kirk's really good at lagging his bat back. You see how his bat stays back, and then he's able to kind of lag it and square the ball up hard to right field. But that's why, because of this move, I like messing with more like fast to slow timing variations with Kirk, because you can get him definitely out in front of the ball or behind the ball, depending on when he wants to make this aggressive stride. It's such an aggressive stride. But if Snell can't do that, and he just lives with off-speed pitches and trying to play the inside-outside location game, it's not going to work versus Kirky, because Kirky's going to go the other way. He's going to hit the ball where it's pitched, like he does in this at-bat. That's the ball that he whacks off the wall. So anyway, that's why I think a little bit it really comes down to that command of that fastball and getting him into a different mode. Springer potentially could play, right? That's another question in the chat here by Zenroth. All right, what else we got here? Oh yeah, Lucas at bat where he chased the ball 3 times against Kershaw wasn't a great at bat. That's true. That's true. That's a good point. He had good at bats yesterday though. He looked great against Shohei. So anyway, I'm just saying he's played good ball. That's all. Played good ball. Where's my guy Lucas? Yeah, 2 for 3 yesterday. 2 singles off Shohei. I don't know. He's been a factor. Without Springer, they need a leadoff man, obviously. I don't know. Schneider, I know he's crushed his lefties, but I think Snell has a pretty good feel for Schneider. Maybe Clement in that leadoff spot makes sense tonight. Maybe it does. I don't know. Smolt says the soonest Springer can play would be maybe Game 6. I just feel like with oblique injuries, like because I've had one before, a couple days is not healing you. You know what I mean? Like it's really not going to be any better for a while. So if you can grit and bear it, I guess it's going to be the same today as the next time. But you know. So, yeah, we'll throw it all out the window. These teams have seen each other quite a bit. We know the situation behind each starter today. The Dodgers, if they can swing it, they love to go Snell right to Sasaki. I do think look for Enriquez to be a possibility today for the Dodgers, as he looked really freaking electric the other day. But this is a great series. We're down to 3 games left. They're all knotted up. There's been a lot of attrition already. There's been star players taking over games. There's been star players struggling. We've kind of seen a little bit of it all. Now we're flipping back around to the Game 1 starters again. In the Savage point of view, we're looking for, same things. First pitch strikes. Can he hit with his off-speed pitches? What's the splitter look like? Splitter wasn't there last game. He's got big opportunity to dominate with a splitter today, if he can land those. So we're looking for splitters. We're definitely paying attention to splitters early in the game from your Savage, as well as first pitch strikes in general. And from Snell, I'm looking for fastball locations early in the game, and also just how the team's reacting to his changeup, because that's been such an important pitch, and what adjustments he can make. I have no idea what's going to happen in this game, and nobody does, and that's what I love about it. It's very exciting to find out. Both of these guys are capable of pitching great. Both of these teams are capable of having great at-bats. They're also capable of doing nothing. So this is just going to be a really interesting starting matchup. It's similar to yesterday in that both starters are expected to do some work in this game before turning it over. So I do think whoever can play out in front of this game and get themselves set up, that's a big advantage. If you're playing from behind, the choices get a little bit tougher, I think, for that manager. That's kind of where we're at. All right, let's get in the chat here a little bit, and then I'll say goodbye. And I got to get ready to go get on my plane and get back home. They might go Davis Schneider lead off so they can pitch it later and not have 5 straight righties later on. Yeah, they probably will because he's been at Davis all season, so why change now? I don't know. I just think Snell's front and back game, fastball changeup game, is so effective versus a guy like Schneider. He's going to have to pull a ball down in to get Schneider to, to pull a ball in the air and do the damage that he wants to do. So with Schneider, we're looking similar to Mookie, right? If he can keep the ball away from Schneider, he'll be in a good spot. Because I think Schneider's a tough weapon and a good guy to face versus lefties. I just think Snell, his arsenal can be a step ahead of him. But again, he's got to execute, so we got to watch how it plays. Feels so weird to catch one of these live after watching the last 10 of them after they ended. Thanks, Ground Jordan, for watching them after they ended. Am I a part of the Players Union? Yep. I think they were saying he can't make the oblique worse. It'll just sap his power big time. I think that's a good take. They just hurt a lot, these oblique injuries. I had one time. It's just like constant annoying pain, and it will sap your power. But if you can handle the pain, you can probably play at 80%, I would say. I mean, depending on how bad it was. But I do think he really hurt his oblique pretty bad. How do I feel about the intentional walk discourse? Well, I'm a little intrigued by potential rule upgrades as we move forward. Like, I've seen people say 1 walk first base, 2nd intentional walk, you get a double, 3rd intentional walk, you get a triple, 4th intentional walk, you can't do it. It's a homer. I don't hate it. You don't run into it a lot, so it's not something you worry about. You don't see guys getting intentionally walked as often as Shohei did, so that's interesting. Am I back in Toronto for Game 6? No, I'm not going to go to 6 or 7. I'm tired, so I'm going to go home and watch the games and stream from home, and then we'll get started on the off season after that. But this has been awesome. It's been so cool to be in the building, both buildings. Been around a lot of great people. Very good opportunity. I was on MLB Now yesterday. I love being in LA. I don't know. It was a great experience overall, but I'm definitely tired. It's time to get going back home. Off topic, all this talk about Mad Max not talking to anyone on start days, that includes his catcher. That's not true. That's not true. He talks to everyone. It's just once the headphones go on, he's in dark mode. Now, of course, he has to communicate with his catcher. He'll talk to his catcher, but it's more, the tone is way different. Like in the initial meeting where the catcher's there, Max is driving that meeting, obviously, they're communicating. Then the headphones go on, and he does his final prep. And then after that, there's a relationship there, but Max is in a dark, weird place when he's pitching, so catcher just has to kind of tiptoe around that. But Max has been known to have great relationships with his catchers. Kurt Suzuki, Alex Avila, been a number of guys he worked really, really, really well with. So it's all about just like kind of learning the nuance of his personality and then figuring out where you fit in if you're the catcher. Only the Clouds, 1989. If you told me Adam was born and raised in New York, I'd never believe you. Absolutely no accent. All my travels kind of wiped my accents out. Sometimes the Brooklyn accent will come out when I'm angry, and you'll hear a few words, but like I went from Brooklyn to Boston, so that has a weird accent, and those kind of cancel each other out. If you go watch some interviews of me talking, though, in college, oh my God, it's like half Brooklyn, half Boston. It's so freaking embarrassing and terrible. And then I've been all over, so it all just kind of goes away. I think you're a product of your environment in that way. Would no intentional walk lead to intentionally throwing at guys? I guess that's a loophole. I don't see it, though. Here we go. Wow, we have so much stuff in the chat. You guys are awesome. Fascinating to see the two approaches to building a team. I love it. I mean, they are both spendy. You got to spend for sure, but they're different a little bit. Is Trey Savage's slider a version of a screwball? I mean, in a way, traditional screwballs are a little more like curveball shape, but backwards, slurve shape. But in a way, it's got a little screwball action to it, I would say. Apologize if this has been asked before, but what are you reading from the Dodger bat swings? 2 homer happy. I wouldn't say that overall. It's all individual. I just think Mookie continues to try to pull everything. That's a little bit of an issue. Freddie, I think, looks great right now. Will Smith is a little bit off timing for sure. Teoscar's fine. Muncie's been okay. Edmonds been okay. Kike, they figured out how to pitch him now. They're pitching him hard and away. So both Mookie and Kike are similar in that if they've been on the outside corner, they've had a hard time doing much. I'm just like looking at the roster here while I talk about this. They've had a hard time because their power is pull side. They want to get out and around and pull everything, and the Blue Jays are kind of on it, and they're not letting that happen. So if you're going to see Mookie or Kike do anything, it's going to be off speed or it's going to be something that leaks back middle in. So we'll watch out for that. Paz has just been bad. I don't expect him to play anymore today. I'd be shocked if he's in there. So he's another one who's been trying to pull everything. I think most of the guys' approaches have been fine, but those are the ones that stand out right now. Smith is a little off. I know he had that big home run, but the pitch is way off inside. What's that tell you if that's the pitch he's hitting out? Kind of a weird place to be. Mookie and Kike are a little too pull happy, and Pajes is just under everything. I think the other guys, it's been generally okay. Edmonds had some bad at-bats at times, but his contact approach, I love it. I love it within the context of the Dodger lineup. It gives them another dynamic. All right. Can the pitcher just pitch balls? Yeah, I mean, they do that. And we used to have to throw the intentional walks. Like, we used to actually have to do it. Like, now they just send them the first without doing anything. What expectations or opinions have changed after watching these 4 games between 2 games? I would say overall on that question, that's from Trace124. I just think and when it comes to, like, the Blue Jays are going to be tough to kill, right? I think now we see there's a very clear path to the Blue Jays winning this series. Shit, one thing goes different in Game 3. They're up 3-1 in this series. In a lot of ways, they've been the superior all-around baseball team in this series. The Dodgers are still tied because they have Yamamoto, and they got some heroic performances in that Game 3. So I think Toronto's been the better team through 4 games. Does that mean they'll win 2 out of the last 3? No. Yamamoto's lurking. The Dodgers still have really quality starting pitching in every moment. But I also think there's room for the Dodger offense to take over a little bit with the overexposure of the Blue Jays now. So I think this is actually a battle of the offenses a little bit. Which offense can execute better in these last 3 games? Which offense can make the adjustments to how they've been being pitched better and kind of get ahead of the other team a little quicker? That would be my say. But expectations wise, I think there's no longer a favorite in the series. I think it's very even now. Very, very even. Which stadium has been louder? I think Toronto by a smidge because of the dome, but Dodger Stadium's been very, very loud as well. And part of the Dodger Stadium experience is the really loud speaker and the loud music, and the organ's been electric. The organ guy, I think his name is Dieter Rule, or he's got a weird name like that, but he's been electric. So Dodger Stadium was great, but I do think Toronto with the dome factor was a bit louder. I gave 32 intentional walks in my career. How much easier is it to say someone should be banned now that you won't need to face someone like Shohei or Judge? I mean, I don't really have any it's not about me. Like, I'm done. I played with some managers that love the intentional walk, and I used to hate intentionally walking guys because it would increase my walk rate. And obviously, I had to do it sometimes with a really good lefty to get to a righty because that was my skill set. But I hated intentionally walking guys. But I also did think it was better to have the guy actually throw the 4 pitches because the whole crowd boos and there's a little bit of like an embarrassment to it. And I remember intentionally walking Prince Fielder once in Detroit. And there was like 50,000 people there. And I was getting booed the whole time I was doing it. And it was just like, it's hard to do it sometimes. And there's a little bit of that, will he throw it away? Will he not throw it away dynamic, which is kind of fun. I mean, I don't know. People like people are like, whatever, just send them to first. But I don't know. I like the dynamic of that part of it. Now, intentional walking, like I said, I never really wanted to do it. There was times where it made sense in my career, but I never really wanted to do it. They just did it a lot because I matched up so well versus righties, and sometimes I had to get around a lefty. I think that's kind of how it worked. This is your Savage's first away postseason start. The Chunky Monkey says he hopes both teams lose. Sorry to tell you that probably won't happen. Were they filling Dodger Stadium during games 1 and 2 like they've been filling Rogers Center the past games, though? No, probably not. Yeah, the organist was electric the whole time. Halloween costume. I believe I have a Superman costume waiting for me at home. We got some stuff with the kids. I did think the Canadian national anthem was electric yesterday, and the American national anthem. The anthems I've heard were pretty good. All right. Yeah, Game 4 anthems were better. Anadro J says. I agree with that. All right, so we kind of know what it is. I think I'm gonna say goodbye. We've done 2 hours, and I got to go to the airport here in a minute. But really good game. What can I say? Really good game. Game 5 is going to be exciting. The winner of this game, I'm sure, if I had the research packet, it would tell us the percent chance. It's probably pretty high. I think it's really important for the Dodgers to win today. You know, you lose today, and you're going to Toronto with two chances for them to close you out. That's not good. So I say the pressure's on LA a little bit tonight, and big time on Blake Snell. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for hanging with me with the stream. I will fix this chat situation as soon as I can. We'll get it all figured back out, and my loading screen and all that. So, but anyway, thanks for hanging with me today, and we will do this again tomorrow morning when I'm back in New York. So enjoy Game 5, everybody, and have a great day today. All right, see you guys. Bye-bye.